This is an electronic dimmable RGB light making kit. It's another electronic soldering kit that I recently purchased from AliExpress. Including all discounts, deliveries and taxes, it cost me just £1.14. So let's take a look inside and see what you get. Okay, so there are a fairly small number of components included with this kit. We do have this large piece of paper here, including the instructions. Includes a final diagram of how the kit will look when assembled, the picture of the LED, and the schematic diagram, as well as instructions in various languages. We have this neat little PCB. It's triangular in shape and has rounded edges, so that's going to be quite fun. We have a collection of resistors here, and I believe all of the resistors on this board are the same value, so we'll look at those more closely in a second. We have these absolutely enormous LEDs. Now, I have some other ones just to the side of me here. So LEDs do come in different shapes and sizes. So here I've got a regular 5mm, a 3mm, and a rectangular profile LED here. And if we compare that to these ones here, you can see these really are quite chunky. And this is an RGB LED containing all three colours of those elements inside. And we have three of those. We have a DC barrel jack, so that's how we're going to power the device. And according to the instructions here, we are going to need DC 5 volts. We also have three sliders, and these are variable resistors, little sliders, and we can use this to control the brightness of each of the three elements in each of the LEDs. And finally, we have some standoff hardware. So we have these hexagonal standoffs and the associated screws. So, as I mentioned, it looks like all of the fixed resistors on here are of the same value. That's 330 ohms. And if we look on the schematic diagram here, we see the same thing. We have the variable resistors just here and the fixed resistors here, and these are all 330. If we look at the individual resistors here, hopefully we can see we have 3300 with a brown tolerance band. So that's orange, orange, black, black. So 330 with 0 additional zeros and a brown tolerance band. And that is a little bit hard to see on these blue body resistors. So let's double check with a multimeter. So I've got my multimeter right here, and I'm just holding the probes at the back here. And we need to select a value that is above the value we're expecting, in this case 330 ohms. So we can't use 200, we're going to need to set it to 2000. And we want to grab the resistors and put just one of them across the probes, like so. And you can see we're getting around 330, so that looks good to me. So let's turn on the soldering iron and install those resistors. Okay, that looks like it's all of our resistors, and we seem to have one spare, but that's absolutely fine. Next, let's put in these variable resistors in the middle. Now, these will only go in one way round. They have this offset position here. Okay, so let's now do our DC input jack. And finally, let's install our LEDs. Now, if you look carefully, hopefully you can see on an LED this size, there is a flattened edge on the right-hand side here. Just here, it's flattened. I don't know if that's going to come across. And you can see the pattern of the legs. Let me just put the board down for a second. So the flat is on the right-hand side, and this is the way the legs are stepped. But for our benefit here, there is a picture in the instructions showing the outline as well. And this shows us that with the flattened edge facing upwards, that's on the top here, we have R at the top for red, the next lead is ground, the next lead is green, and the final lead is blue. Now, as usual, we can test that with a CR2032 coin cell battery. So the top lead should be red to ground, so that means positive is on the top. And if I do this, we get red illumination, so that's good. The next one down after the ground should be green, so we need to flip the coin cell over, and we're getting green. And finally, we have blue here at the bottom, and that's going to be a little harder to demonstrate, but we should be able to do it by bending this lead out of the way. And there you go, we're getting blue. So we need to put this in on the board as shown here. So red is on the right for RGB1, and so that means that is the side with the flat. So this is like so. And this should sit in like so. And you can see the outline here matches. So you can see here I've managed to solder together these legs, and I shouldn't have done. So we need to clean that up. Now, sometimes you can get it to separate just by warming it with the soldering iron and sweeping the solder away, but that isn't working for me here. So I am removing some of it, but not enough to actually separate the join. So what I'm going to use here is a little bit of solder wick just to try and damp up the extra solder. And to hold the PCB, I'm going to use this little holder here. This is actually for holding wires, but I think this will do just nicely just here to hold the PCB. Okay, these still look like they're bridged right at the base here, to me. So what I'm going to do here is just snip off the leads, and then we'll clean that up at the base. Okay, and so I'm just going to reflow all of these joints. So I think we have all four are now independent. And of course, we can check that with a multimeter. So let's get the multimeter out again. And this time we want to put it into continuity mode. It's down here. And we get a beep when it's shorted out. And hopefully now we'll find that each of these pads aren't directly connected. So that's fine. No short there, no short there, no short there. Let's see if we're more successful with the next two. Again, we want to put the LED this way round. And our last one here, this one goes around this way. Finally, we can install our standoff hardware here, and this will just give it a little bit of a space off the table. Now, there are two small pads here where we could have attached our own wires if we wanted to for positive and negative. But what I'm going to use is a USB cable. The first thing I'm going to want to do here, though, is make sure I know the polarity. So again, multimeter to the rescue. Again, on continuity mode. And what I'm going to do here is put one of the probes on the negative lead here, or the negative connection, which is on the right-hand side here. A little bit confusing with the markings here because it says plus 5 volt, but then above that it says minus and positive just so. This one on the right will be the negative. And I'm going to touch this on the shell on the inside of the connector. And that shell is the negative pin. And if I touch the positive here and touch the center pin, that tells me we have a center positive. Now, we know this device is going to run on 5 volts. It tells us right here on the instructions. And I happen to have a USB cable here, and USB is 5 volts, or at least the classic USB is. And let's see, does this fit? Seems to fit just fine, so this lead should be good. We just want to make sure we know the polarity of this. So I'm going to grab my trusty power bank here, plug this in, and we're going to use our multimeter again, but this time we're going to set it to voltage, DC, and we want to set it to a range around 5 volts or above 5 volts. So this 20 range here should be perfect. And we want the sensor to be positive, so let's check to see if that's the case. We put the negative probe on the outside, the positive probe on the inside, and we're reading 5.2 volts, so that's going to be just fine. So let's plug it in and see what happens. And there we go. We have this very attractive display of those LEDs. Seem to have a bit of a glitch on this one here. That was the first one I soldered. Possible there is still a short here. So let's have a closer look at that one and see if we can identify a short. I'm going to start off just by reflowing each of the joints. And our top one still isn't operating correctly. There's definitely still some kind of short here. So here I'm just going to pop it in diode test mode, and we're going to see if that red LED is still working or if there is some kind of short. It does seem like there is still a short there. Okay, so I have finally cleared all of the shorts, I think, between the 3 pins here. I ended up doing that by flooding the contact pads and wiggling the LED just slightly out, so this one's actually slightly proud. These pads here are very tiny and they really do want to join together. We now have this fully functional. We can have any of the colors we desire. We can have all on red, all on green, or all on blue. And we can mix them in combinations we might like. Here's a purple or violet or magenta color. Here's a kind of cyan color that we were getting before when we had the short. And here's the classic yellowy color you get when you merge red and green. It's a nice little way to try out different RGB colors with the sliders. And I think despite the challenges there, this has been a nice little project. I'm not sure this is one for beginners, just because of the very fine pitch pads here and the trouble that I had there ensuring that they stayed segregated. Of course, it worked just fine on these ones here, but once I had caused a short up there, it really wanted to keep shorting. So that was a bit of a challenge, but we managed to get there in the end. Nonetheless, this was a fun little project. So I hope you found this video interesting, and I hope to speak to you again soon in the next one.